be consistent on is that this is not impacting our drinking water.
Yeah.
After that, it really is
right.
Jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
All right, Rafa, thank you.
All right, we're going to go next to Matt Gregory, who is near the C&O Canal in Cabot John, Maryland. And Matt, it turns out we may actually be on the hook to pay for this, all of us.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to who is on the hook is about as clear, to be honest, as this water behind me. It's quite murky. Now, part of that is because DC Water and its partners like WSSC don't want to speculate on total costs until the total cost comes down, right? But there is one part of this entire equation that's clear, and that's that someone is going to have to pay, and that may depend on where you live. At the Potomac Interceptor break, round-the-clock work and cleanup will add up to a hefty sum, so who will pay? During DC Water's meeting with district officials Tuesday, DC Water CEO Matt Brown gave a sewage split breakdown.
So at Blue Plains, approximately 55% of the flow comes from outside of the District of Columbia. And so the 55% of the costs are then borne by the users of the system who send flow to DC. And we expect a similar cost split for this asset.
Translation, 45% of the costs could affect DC Water customers, which means 55% of the costs would be borne by utilities in Fairfax and Loudoun counties in Virginia and in Montgomery and Prince George's counties in Maryland. So will this come from rate increases or creative accounting?
The jurisdictions outside of the district are our wholesale customers, and that would be something that they would need to speak to.
We reached out to the jurisdictions and utilities, and they haven't gotten back to us as of this report. But Montgomery County Executive Mark Elrich held a briefing Wednesday afternoon and gave some insight into how he expects the cost burden to break down.
I don't know if they've got insurance for this kind of thing, but if they're not insured, then they're going to have costs. And if they're going to have costs, I would expect it to wind up on rate periods.
So one of the things that I'm just looking at my email right now, because we reached out to the EPA, right? They've said, you've heard the Trump administration say they're ready to step in and help. So we said, is the EPA, or this is the question I asked, is the EPA ready to step up and offer any funding? And what would that look like in terms of cleaning this up and getting everything fixed? And all I got was a message to check the Twitter account for Lee Zeldin, who's the secretary of the EPA, that was their response. And within that was nothing about any sort of financial burden or financial aspect. So that's what the EPA is telling us at this point. At the same time, we reached out to WSSC, one of the partners. We reached out to Loudoun County, Fairfax County, to get a more clear understanding of how much of the interceptor, how much of the sewage pipeline, the allocation, right, so to speak, to pay would be. And they still don't want to speculate. That's all going to be coming down in the coming days or so, or we hope, or in the coming weeks. But again, it really is murky about who will pay and how they will pay. So we're going to stay on top of this when it comes to with our local partners and our federal partners that we want to get answers from. And we'll bring it to you when we get those answers. But for now, in Cabot John near the C&O Canal, I'm Matt Gregory. Back to you.
I feel like I want to tell you, move away from that area, like a little close to the murky water.
You know what, I bet we're going to see more of this finger pointing because we are talking about money now.
Yeah, see, now that's when it gets real.
Yeah.
That's when it gets real. All right, Matt, thank you.